Welcome to Vision Pros, the show all about spatial computing, Vision OS, and getting work done on the Apple Vision Pro. I'm Tim Chatton, host of the show.
It is kind of like having multiple iPads, right? Like you're just having all of the space you have just to put things wherever you want is so incredibly powerful. It's still expensive, but it kind of makes it worth the whole thing, you know?
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros. I'm pleased to be joined on this episode by Riley Hill from slatepad.org. Riley is just 5 days into his Apple Vision Pro ownership, and in this episode we dive into what those first 5 days were like, his bizarre purchasing experience, which his store has not had many sold, it would appear, and we just have a general chat about what it's like as a new Apple Vision Pro owner and user. Riley's background is coming from the iPad as his primary computer, and you can hear him talk about that on my other podcast, iPad Pros. He's been on 2 episodes so far over there, so check that out if you're curious about his work on iPad. As a reminder, you can support the podcast over at visionpros.fm/Patreon. By supporting either Patreon or on Apple Podcasts, you'll get both iPad Pros and Vision Pros early. My thanks to everyone that supports the show. And another quick reminder, if you have not yet reviewed this podcast in Apple Podcasts, that too would be greatly appreciated. Every review goes a long way in helping to send the right signals to Apple to show this podcast more in search. With that, here's my discussion with Riley, all about his first 5 days owning the Apple Vision Pro. Welcome to the podcast, Riley.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it seems like I just talked to you yesterday about iPad stuff. And, after our chat, you ended up buying a Vision Pro. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, that's been interesting. It's been a journey of not wanting it to maybe not being able to afford it to now I can afford it, so I'm just going to go for it type of thing. Yeah. So. Well,
congrats first off. Yeah, new Vision Pro owner.
Yeah.
You went with the 512 configuration, which is a good middle ground, I think. I went crazy with storage because I know how I am, but I think the 512 is a nice, comfy zone where you can you live in there comfortably and not go crazy like me and download all these 3D Blu-rays that take up ginormous amounts of space.
Yeah, it felt, I plan on using this as a computer, so I wanted a decent amount of space. Kind of made sense. So.
For sure. So your background, as iPad Pro listeners will know, is the iPad is your primary computer, and we have a new computer entering the ring, and that's the Vision Pro. It does run many iPad apps. Some iPad apps I had to force to run through less than sanctioned means. Okay. I can share with that later if you'd like. But yeah, there is a way to force iPad apps to run. It's kind of a pain in the butt though. But so I guess just getting into it, just overall impressions as far as I guess the app ecosystem and what you can actually do with it as a computer coming from the iPad.
Yeah. So I guess for some background, I'm on day 5 of having this thing. So this is pretty new, but I've been using it, a few hours every day at least. So, like you said, being that I have so many iPad-centric workflows, pretty much the majority of the apps I use on my iPad are available on Vision Pro, either through native versions or through their iPad versions. It helps a ton that I generally stick to the Apple, apps and services. So, that I have, I certainly wish there were more Vision OS native Apple apps. I'm a little confused. We didn't see any changes in Vision OS 2 on that. But
it's baffling. Yeah,
it is. And I like to, I'm something of a, I guess, glass half full on this stuff. So I like to imagine they're taking their time on the design side of things, they're taking their time to come up with spatial designs, or not just copying and pasting,
right?
The iPad apps and recompiling. They're trying to think of methods of interfacing with these apps. I like to think. But yes, but other than that, my compatible apps folder is getting pretty big. But
yeah,
that experience is not as bad as you would think. Running the iPad apps, a good iPad app runs pretty well on Vision Pro, I'd say.
Yeah, if an iPad app supports trackpad, that is huge because that, I think, to me at least, it translates super well to the eye tracking, the kind of the trackpad kind of can snap to things. That really helps out where your eye can actually snap to things as well, versus apps like Discord where it does not know anything about the trackpad and just like that's a test of how much do you trust the eye tracking in that.
That's good to know. I did download Discord, but I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So
it does work, but because there's no trackpad support, there's no indication to you visually that you're looking at the right place when you tap. So I guess another question, accessories with the Vision Pro, are you using any kind of keyboard or trackpad or Mac as an input?
So far, I'm using the Apple Magic Keyboard, the one that doesn't have Touch ID.
Yep.
So I've kind of had it lying around. It was actually in my travel bag for a while, but I've been using that for some writing. That's been working pretty well. I haven't done a pointer yet.
Okay, because you have mouse support now with VisionOS too. So
yeah, and I do have a Magic Mouse that I'm not really using, so I could take advantage of that. But so far, I haven't done pointers yet.
Okay, yeah, pointers, they're helpful but not essential. I think in most apps, keyboard is so nice so you don't spend like an hour trying to write the perfect Mastodon post and try to edit it. And oh man. Yeah, input is just, it's rough without a keyboard sometimes.
It is. I've been trying to get the hang of moving the cursor just with my fingers, and it does work.
Yes.
It takes a little bit of, it's a little fiddly, but that's, but I guess, I don't know if I call myself a purist, but I'm definitely trying to not add a bunch of accessories right up front and just trying to use it as is.
Right.
And just see how far I can get before I need to start adding stuff.
Yeah, it's also really cool to be using a keyboard and, eye tracking with tapping as well at the same time, because you can be like typing and look at something and tap. Sometimes I'll have a trackpad open and I'll still use eye tracking and tap some things and use the trackpad for other things. You know how some people use a trackpad and a mouse at their Macs? It's kind of like that, where you have multiple inputs and you kind of like are juggling them all at the same time. Kind of thing.
You also asked about the Mac, and going into buying a Vision Pro, I was pretty certain I wasn't going to use that feature.
Yeah.
Mostly, I guess, again, that whole purist thing, but it's like, I have this philosophy, I don't know, I guess I'd call it, but, I'm interested in, like, my whole content vibe, what I do is, and I'm interested in the post-PC era. I'm interested in those, basically everything after the iPhone and after is kind of my interest. Smartphones, smartwatches, tablets, and these headsets. So the Mac Virtual Display, felt like a crutch, right? And it's probably a necessary crutch given where the state of Vision OS apps is. So I was like, I'm not going to use that. I don't, it's not moving things forward to do that.
Sure.
Like, that was my thought, but I wanted to give it a fair shot just because why not? I bought this thing. It is, it lets you, it enables me to use it during the workday. Right?
Sure, yeah.
There's really no other, it would be an after hours device otherwise. So,
or you're using screens to VNC into a.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
So
yep.
I have been using that a little bit. It's been an interesting, I guess, not struggle, but like, I'll do the Mac Virtual Display. First of all, getting it to connect, like the Vision Pro to recognize my laptop and connect has been fiddly. Like it maybe 30% of the time it works. So I have to go into control.
Yeah. And Control Center works pretty right away?
Yep.
Okay. You can also toggle it from the Mac. If you have like the display thing in the menu bar, you can just say, connect to Vision Pro there, which is less than ideal. But it is in there. And when it's being particularly finicky, I'll sometimes like launch screens and like force the Mac to connect through the Mac way about it.
Because you'd be going through your Mac Pad thing, right?
My little headless MacBook Air. I love this little guy. And the Vision Pro. It's funny because the Vision Pro is what got me to finally get a modern Mac, and it's fun having a headless Mac. I'll tell you,
because it's just it's a great form factor. Because when I'm at my desk here, it becomes like a desktop computer where I'm hooked up to the the Sony Enzone M9 monitor or whatever, and it's basically just the input slab, and you got the computer up and running. Then when you're at the Vision Pro, I'll connect to Mac Virtual Display, but often that window is like hidden from my vision because all I'm using the Mac Pad for is input on Vision OS apps.
Interesting.
Or I'll throw the Mac in a I'll throw Find My as a full screen Mac app for my Mac Virtual Display instance. Because there's no Find My app for Vision OS, so it'll be up as like, let me just keep an eye on when I need to be wrapping things up and be ready for people,
Nice. I will say I guess not to virtual display point, but I noticed when I was using it that I find myself putting the display like higher than I need to. Like I have to keep reminding myself, like I can look straight ahead.
Yeah.
I'm like looking up here like this, and I don't know why. It's been a weird experience, but
that is weird. Yeah, I mean, if you're on a recliner, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about Vision OS and all that is you can put the windows at the most ergonomically sound place possible, which you can't do otherwise.
Yep. But you mentioned the Find My thing, and it reminded me, I bought this Meta Quest 3 kind of as a couple months ago as like a precursor, because I was pretty sure I was going to get a Vision Pro. So I wanted to try the Android of these headsets as Meta wants to be. And so I, obviously there's no Apple services on the Quest, so I've been using iCloud.com again and like all the web app versions of music and podcasts.
Yeah, what if you could sideload the Android version of Apple Music or something?
I haven't gotten into sideload. I know that I need to do that because the browser situation. It's been so long since I used the web without an ad blocker, but the default browser doesn't have one. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is not good. So, and I saw some people on Reddit were like, yeah, you got to sideload this browser, sideload Firefox or whatever. And I haven't done that yet, but yeah, the web app thing is kind of the out for, I guess, both the Quest and the Vision Pro a little bit.
Yeah, as far as display quality, noticeable difference between the two headsets?
Yes, not as, at least on the pass-through front, not as much as you'd think, but definitely the actual visuals are noticeabably better on the Vision Pro. But that's not to say that the Quest is bad. The Quest 3 is actually good. Very good, so I don't want to disparage that at all.
Yeah, it is funny. Like if I'm doing a day where I want to use my PSVR 2 and my Vision Pro, I definitely want to start on the PSVR 2, because if I start the other direction, it's a harder jump to make. Like you want to go lower quality, the better quality as far as the display is just I've found.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So tell me about your actual purchase process. And you did this in store versus just ordering online, which is smart because you want to get the right fit. Yeah, so you're in America, right? What part of the country are you at?
I'm in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, the purchase process was interesting because I'm pretty sure, I mean, I didn't ask them, but they were not very familiar with the process of selling a Vision Pro, especially for someone who, like me, just ordered online for pickup and didn't do the try-on demo experience.
Yeah.
There was a lot of confusion.
They didn't even make you do the try-on demo thing.
No, they got me to the point of like, well, do you want to do the fitting just to make sure that the fit was right? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And they didn't really know how to do that. Because I feel like if they sell one, it's through the demo. Like someone does a demo, loves it, has a lot of money and just buys it. But I just walked in and was like, here to pick up my Vision Pro. And they were like, okay, not sure how to do all of this. And and to be fair, everyone's super nice. I don't want to disparage them, but there's a lot of confusion. And then as we're trying to figure this out, people would keep walking by and like, oh, you're actually buying one? Like that was the vibe of like, so are you using this for business? Or, like, why are you, like, it was this like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, yeah, it's for business. Yeah, for sure. Sort of, kind of. But multiple employees were walking by just kind of almost in disbelief, like, oh my God, someone's buying one. And then there was a nice guy who came by who bought one on launch day with the different games I should try the meditation app and this and that. But it was interesting. It took about a half an hour of fiddling around with how do we do this fitting again, even though he's already bought it? And it was a little off-putting. Just again, that whole vibe of like,
Interesting.
oh my god,
Yeah, because I was on day one, obviously.
yeah,
So everyone was learning with us, and we did the full demo and fitting and stuff. But like, yeah, I think the processes have changed a bit, and maybe they haven't done this that much at this point.
which is not surprising at that price point. But
Agreed. Yeah.
if the shipping to home wasn't, it was like a week out or something, I would have done that, but I wanted to get it that day. So
did your fit end up being what it recommended?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your fit for you? Do you remember?
All right, I had, let's see, small, the knit solo knit band, small, Light Seal 21W.
Yep, that's pretty common size for sure.
Yeah, I think I remember there's a guy saying I was like right down the middle in terms of where people, I guess, land on the fitting. So that made me a little concerned of like, oh man, does the app, does the, scanning or whatever, just spitting out this, these values for everyone. But it's fit pretty well so far.
Good, yeah. You have one of the smallest heads of anyone I've spoken to on the podcast. It's the medium's pretty common for the headband.
And interestingly, I guess I would say, what I think is maybe uncommon from what I've read, I've been sticking with the solo loop band. Like,
good, yeah, I love that
like
one.
it. Yeah,
I mean, I use two of them, but
yeah. I know it sounds like a lot of people are either on the dual loop or doing something like that.
And the Spigen has a new headband that people are really loving. But I find the comfort pretty good with the solo top. I don't want to know if the Spigen's even more comfortable at a cheaper price because that would make me kind of sad probably. But I hear that's a good option to try out if you do have comfort issues for longer sessions.
So far for me, it's and I tried the dual loop once and it was fine too. But for this, for the solo loop, I've been putting it on kind of tight, and then as I start to feel it, I loosened it up over time, and it's kind of been working out. But I was hopeful because everyone says this thing is heavy, and it certainly is heavier than the Quest.
Yeah.
But people would also say that like the AirPods Max are heavy, and I never thought those were heavy. Or I've seen a few Reddit threads about the Quest being heavy. I don't think that's heavy. So I'm like,
right,
maybe I just have a strong neck or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like I think I'm gonna be all right with the weight.
Yeah, the Max I don't understand because it's got the nice mesh and it balances the weight really well. Like unless you're bending over and doing like chores around the house where you're like trying to like, or you have people in the gym doing like deadlift. Like I don't know why you exercise with AirPods Max. They're not exercise.
Too expensive to
that, and they're not as you want something way differently designed and optimized for sweat.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you pick it up. You're making a big scene there because no one's seen this in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have security walk you out to the car? I felt so scared when I was walking to the car with mine on launch day.
I was just praying they had a bag, like because I know they don't give you bags for everything, but thankfully they did. I'm like, please don't make me carry this giant obvious box out. And of course, it's still obvious, but
right.
Yeah, just beeline it for the car. Don't make any eye contact.
Right.
Just get out of there.
Any accessories you end up getting along with it?
Not so far, although I have my eye maybe on the travel case, the Apple travel case.
I love that thing. It is expensive.
It is expensive.
There's also the Waterfield design one that's a similar price point that has different trade-offs depending on what you're optimizing for.
I mean, me being me, I'm probably just going to get the Apple one at some point. But
yeah,
I've been futzing around Amazon a bit, and I just don't like any of the ones I see there so far. So.
Yeah, in my mind, it's either the Waterfield design, which is super well-designed, well-made, more compact one, or the Apple one. They're both around $200. I really love the Apple one, but I can see if I traveled more liking the, Waterfield design. But I love with the Apple one, it's nice. It's got the little, I'll have it like next to my chair. And it's got that little strap that kind of pulls out from the side of it. But when it's not in use, it's flush against it, which is super nice because like I'm trying to grab this in a chair with a sleeping daughter. It's like it helps you grab onto it easier and all that, and it stays fully assembled because it's big enough for that. And I'll have my I'm not sure if you'll ever get to this point, but I have a separate set of AirPods Pro that are dedicated to the Apple Vision Pro. So my USB-C pair just stays in there, and because I want the headphones fully charged, I want the ear tips not beat up from using them all day long, which my other ones get pretty beat up pretty quickly. And because they're on the Vision Pro, the battery life, I wear them both all the time together versus my other AirPods. I'll do the solo pod, and that means the battery life not consistent. I need the USB-C ones anyway to get that lossless audio, so I might as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. I have so many headphones here, but I couldn't find a reason to get the USB-C AirPods. But that's not a bad way, not a bad reason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're $169 on Amazon right now. It's funny. I looked at the Amazon. It's the same price for that or the AirPods 4 with ANC. It's so weird, like the pricing AirPods, and eventually the ANC ones I'm sure will have price cuts too. But
yeah,
it is weird. Like Apple Vision Pro is the only device you can listen to lossless Apple Music with AirPods. Like that's the only device that supports that, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, I'm not sure that makes sense as to why that's the only. I don't know. I don't know the technical reasons.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the AirPods like inches from the computers.
Yeah.
But anyways, as far as accessories, nothing right now. As far as your actual usage, what's been your experience like so far in these 5 days? Like, how much entertainment stuff have you done with it? What kind of work stuff have you attempted and done so far?
So, let's see. I've downloaded, I use Ulysses for most of my writing, and there is a test flight version of Ulysses that works on Vision Pro.
Ooh.
So I've been using that. I mean, it's the iPad version.
Okay,
so
but it's enabled. Okay, gotcha.
It is enabled there.
Yeah.
So I've been using that. That's the reason I connected the keyboard was to start.
Because I was very excited because there's no like amazing text apps. There's some good ones, but nothing like Ulysses.
Mm-hmm. So I've been using that, and that's been working pretty well for writing. I've written a couple of blog posts on the Vision Pro, and then obviously leading on Safari for the actual WordPress publishing and all that stuff. So I've been able to do that. For a lot of my workflow, though, I need some like use the Affinity apps for graphics.
Yep,
they're not really there, and of course Final Cut for editing videos is not there. I don't know how those things.
Yeah, you'll have LumaFusion as an option, which runs and is supported in compatibility mode, and Photomator and Pixelmator both are enabled.
Okay,
which I found those to be pretty good solutions for some of the stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's Affinity Designer's a whole different kind of tool set.
I haven't given Photomator a shot in a while, and that maybe worth revisiting. I weirdly got annoyed that they never because is it Photomator Pro or Pixelmator Pro?
Pixelmator Pro.
That they never brought that to iPad, and I don't know why. Because I mean, obviously it's their prerogative, but I mean, photo editing's not that intensive to that the iPads can't just.
Yeah, it's interesting where they focused on photography versus what Pixelmator Pro can do, which is more far-reaching. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of annoyed me, but I will try it out though, because I would like to move more of my workflow, or at least be able to replicate more of my workflow on the Vision Pro. And
it is so useful being able to crop VisionOS screenshots on your Vision Pro when you're sharing stuff on social. The lack of, I don't think Photos lets you crop at all. Apple Photos.
That's a weird omission.
I think that's the case. I may be wrong in VisionOS 2, but I think that's the case. Did you manage to download Juno before it was pulled, or are you a couple days late?
I was too late on that, unfortunately. So
oh man, yeah, you're like a day late. It's like, oh man.
I've been using the website, and it's been youtube.com, and it's been fine.
Yeah.
Some of the playback controls are finicky to get to with eye tracking, but it's okay.
Yeah. There's a couple third-party apps, and then you can also use Sandwich's Theater or Sandwich's Television app, and there's a YouTube interface to pull up any YouTube video pretty much within there. And those are fun ways to watch YouTube on VisionOS.
Nice.
But yeah, Juno is such a great app. So it's a sad time when Google, throws down the hammer on that one. Didn't Google say earlier on in this process that they
we're going to make a Vision OS app.
That's everyone's theory as to why it was pulled that in early 2025. We're probably going to get one.
Okay, I'd be curious. I use it on the Quest, and I would say it's also just fine. I mean, it's an app, but it's not great. So I'm curious what they come up with.
And have you done much with shortcuts on the Apple Vision Pro?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. That's one I got to get into. I feel like I haven't had enough time with it to figure out where I need to build these shortcuts for efficiency yet.
Yeah, it's an interesting app in Vision Pro because where you look is where the new windows spawn in the automation. So look over here because I know what's coming next in the automation. It's I use one for the podcast publishing, just to copy stuff where it needs to go, and then I ultimately just hit paste in WordPress to do the final bit. And WordPress works pretty well. I mean, eye tracking and everything works pretty well on that site.
Yeah, I haven't had really any issues with that. That weren't just the regular kind of Safari weirdness with, what's essentially the iPad OS version of Safari. There's a little weirdness there, but it's worked well enough for me.
Yeah. As far as extensions in Safari, have you installed any?
Yeah, I've got my normal, my ad blockers. I use the Momentum extension. I use, most of the extensions I use are just kind of stop the cookie banner thing extension. And I think I use the Honey extension. And that's really about it as far as just across the board. And I was really excited to have access to those same extensions that I have on all my other devices. Kind of nice that get with that synergy across all the different OSs really just kind of shows up and really helps you out.
Yeah. You work from home or in an office?
I do.
Okay. And I see you're on a swivel chair. Is that right?
Yeah.
Have you been swiveling when you're in Vision OS to surround yourself in apps?
Not from this. Okay. I guess a little bit from this chair. So my monitor, you can't see it. It's way too close to me to I can't really do from the chair.
Because it'll warn you're too close and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually, what I've been doing with this is, work here in the mornings and in the afternoon after lunch. I grab my laptop, grab the Vision Pro, go into the living room, kind of spread out and relax. And then, that's when I've been using the Mac Virtual Display and putting, all my my music and my Safari and, whatever else in Vision OS and using it that way. And that's been really nice way to work.
Good. Yeah. Are you using AirPods or the speaker pods enough for you for most stuff?
Mostly the speaker pods. Because, obviously I work from home. No one's usually here. Or I'm in my office here. No one's close enough to hear. But I have used the AirPods Pro 2, the Lightning version. I will use those. I don't know that I would dare to use anything else. Certainly not my AirPods Max or my Beats Studio Pros.
Right, yeah.
But it's worked pretty well. I guess the first time I used the AirPods Pro, there was a lot of lag for some reason. It must have been a weird initial sync or something, but it hasn't happened since. And I've been really pleased with that. So now I might have to buy a separate pair of AirPods just for this thing. That's not a bad idea.
It's really not. My cost sunk fallacy was, I spent $4,000 on this. What's another $180? Or
I thought that was how I was going to justify the travel case.
The travel case, exactly.
Yeah. It's well, gone this far.
Right, yeah.
Why are you going to cheap out now, right? I was anyway.
Yeah, that also got me up to the 1 terabyte model. It's I already, I might as well.
Well, it's nice. I like to, even though I don't really plan on taking this many places, but I have all my music on there. I could have all my photos. I don't, but music is one thing. I usually download podcasts locally.
And you use Apple Podcasts? Okay.
I'll use podcasts locally. I'll actually use the Files app. I don't have much in there right now, but I do use it on my iPad quite a bit. So we'll probably end up downloading local files to this thing and having those.
Yeah, and you can pin files now, which is good.
Yep. So, it made sense to me to get more than 256 because,
for sure,
like I said, I plan on really using this as a computer.
And the video files from Apple TV are, in fact, larger than what you would download on iPad. They give you bigger bit rates. I think it's about double file size, which is good.
Yeah, and I would definitely I might have some travel coming up in the next month or two, and I'm already starting to work myself up to like bringing it and using it on the plane and stuff.
Yeah.
But so I don't usually like that much attention, but in reality, people
don't care.
Yeah, no one really cares. Anyway, but I would take advantage of those local downloads for the TV app for sure.
How's your persona to your eyes?
Boy, do I look old! Like, oof, that was a gut punch.
Yeah.
It was fine. I kind of want to redo it, but I would say it's just fine. Like, and I appreciate them trying. I really, and I'm sure it'll keep getting better, but it's just okay.
Okay. Yeah. At some point, we should do some kind of persona call, some spatial gaming or something.
Yeah. Someone was telling me about that tabletop, some kind of app or something.
Yeah, that's a cool experience. Battleship and stuff is in there, and
yeah, that probably would be mind blowing. But definitely should do that. But yeah, I've loved just that whole onboarding process. I thought was just really cool. Like it's stepping you through setting up your Vision Pro. Although I will say one problem I had, the power connector, I assumed it was like a MagSafe, like click.
Oh,
I think I almost broke. So you have. It wasn't obvious to me
to twist.
Yeah, to do the twist, and so I actually had to look this up because I don't want to break this thing, but because I'm just fiddling with it and pushing on it, and I'm like, let me figure this out. But so that was honestly the hardest part of the whole setup was getting the power thing connected.
Yeah. Have your dogs reacted to you wearing it at all?
Mostly no, although this other one, just before I got up to get ready for this call, got in my lap, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. Yeah, I'll wait a few minutes, and then he starts trying to lick the headset. I'm like, no, don't touch. No, we're done here. You're not getting anywhere near this. So I feel like my other dog reacted more to the Quest 3. I mean, I can't imagine they can tell the difference, but it is a little weirder looking, so.
Yeah, for sure. And have you looked at yourself in a mirror to see your persona eyes and all that?
Yeah, I have. I actually kind of like that. And I mentioned this on social media. Like when my wife saw me for the first time with this thing on, she's like, oh, I can see your eyes. Like she was excited by it.
It did the illusion, yeah.
Yeah, it's just because, everyone just crapped on that feature, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like the feature. I mean, it could be better and brighter and all that, but it's a good idea, especially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If they can make it brighter for sure, that'd be something. But yeah, I've enjoyed I look at myself in the mirror ever so often and see my eyes, and it's like, that's not bad.
For your day job, is Zoom an aspect? Do you join Zoom calls?
Every so often. We're mostly a Teams company, but every so often there's Zoom, and I haven't been.
Yeah, will you be bold enough to join Zoom?
I don't know that I haven't told anyone at work I bought this yet.
Yeah, I often wonder, like, I'd imagine a 3 or 4 person call would be very obvious, but like if it's like one of those crazy 20 person Zooms, like who's going to notice kind of thing?
Yeah. I do have one coworker I know of. I don't talk to him much, but he already has a Vision Pro, and he was telling me about it a few months.
Because you work in the development world, so these are other geeks that would understand it a little bit. Yeah,
you would think, but I'm always surprised by what my fellow nerds aren't into. Like I always make the joke about, because we have a lot of Android people, and like no one has a folding phone, and I'll try to sell people on it sometimes. Like, no, you should try it. It's pretty cool. Like the Google one looks nice, and they all just kind of think it's a gimmick.
If I was an Android user, I would be 100% in the folding phones. What else am I doing there?
Right? Yeah. Like it's like I tried to get my wife to get one when we upgraded her. She's like, no, I don't want to do it. It's like,
oh, your wife's on Android.
Yeah, she's on Android. Yeah.
Oh, that's
she actually hates Apple with a passion.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It is. So
she must love the Vision Pro then.
Surprisingly, so I let her try it.
Yeah.
And she was impressed by the quality. I put her in one of the environments. I think it was the moon. And she was like, this is really cool, and this is my nightmare. Like, I don't like all this open space. And her next question was, where are the games? And I was like, it's not really for games. Yeah, it's not. I mean, there are games, but I don't have any. I doubt she made me download some games, so I have some now. But she also said the same thing when she put on the Quest, and my answer was the same. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to download games. Like, I'm not really.
Yeah, the Quest is actually 4 games. It's like a video game console, I would say, more so than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm trying to.
But the Vision
I'm
Pro,
most interested.
not really for games in my mind. Yeah.
Not really. And I went back and looked at that keynote the other day. Yesterday, actually, kind of prepping for this, and they did say something to the extent of, like, this is like the first, like, they did the game section, and she was like, this is the first step in the evolution of gaming on Vision OS or something. Some comment that made me think that, like, I don't think they've ruled out controllers, but like they're just not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, Apple with gaming, they're so cute. I mean, they try. I mean, we'll pull out Death Stranding, and they do all these good one-offs, and some of them are very good experiences. Like Death Stranding runs great on the phone and iPad, and sadly is not enabled for Vision Pro. Because if they could get that running on Vision Pro, man, that would be such a cool experience. Because especially playing that in like an environment.
Yeah.
Imagine games that could ship their own environments as well to go along with it. So you're like playing a game in the environment, like because they have all these 3D models that they use to build the game. So I could imagine some cool partnerships where, how Disney Plus has their own environments. Imagine games ship their own environments where maybe it's still a 2D flat game, but you're playing in their environment. That would be wild,
If I could get Starfield in some way, shape, or form on Vision Pro in an environment like that, man, that would be killer.
Yeah. I think is it streaming on GeForce Now? I think would be the way to do it, maybe.
I imagine Xbox Cloud Gaming would probably work, but that's never been like I want that to be successful, but it's just not that good.
Yeah,
and I'm home, so it's like silly to stream the game I own.
Yeah, and I've tried, PS5 remote play within the headset. Just it's not as good. I'll use the portal if I want to, stream my PS5 or go downstairs and because it needs better Wi-Fi in the Apple Vision Pro, sadly, for streaming, or a way to hook it up in the Ethernet. There's no I/O on this thing, sadly.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because that was probably my biggest annoyance so far. With the Mac Virtual Display is I won't call it laggy, but it's definitely, there are moments of lag in the experience that I don't know. And I have in the apartment here, we just have the router modem thing that Comcast gave us. I didn't invest in like when we get to the house, I'm going to
like a mesh system or something.
Yeah, I'm going to invest in something better, but I didn't hear. And I don't know if it's because of my Wi-Fi, but like it's a tiny bit laggy, not to the point of being unusable, but it's noticeable.
Okay. Yeah, I will say for me, so the best way to do PS Remote Play is through the Mac Virtual Display because the Mac's got good Wi-Fi and it's connecting to the Mac through, I think, something better than the standard Wi-Fi estimation, but maybe that's not true. But yeah, I'll use the PS Remote Play app for Mac and, that's actually a pretty good experience on Apple Vision Pro. But as I guess RCS must have been a big addition for you guys, right?
Yeah, it took, but it was my wife is not a techie, so like I think she's just been using the default Samsung messages for a while, and so she just got forced off that. But up until that point, she hadn't
SMS,
done it.
right? Yeah,
it's just been SMS, and I'm at the point in my life where I don't want to do any more support than I have to. So I wasn't going to be like, you need to switch to this. Like I'll just wait.
Sure.
And it finally happened, and that's been nice. But yeah, pretty much all my Android friends are on RCS, so it's been good.
Yeah. How much solo time do you end up getting for just entertainment time, like watching movies and that stuff?
Not as much as I like, because making YouTube videos, it turns out, is it's a lot of work, a lot of time. But I did yesterday spend a little time in the Disney Plus app, catching up on my Marvel stuff on Agatha All Along, nice. Or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But, honestly, I'm such a, just kind of my day-to-day, in between things used for this would be throwing up YouTube and like putting it on, opening up a YouTube window in the kitchen while I'm heating lunch or something.
Sure.
And,
yeah.
But I do want to try a 3D movie. Like I want to probably re-watch one of the Avatar movies in this thing. And
Yes. Yeah, it's a good experience. Avatar 2, especially impressive. Avatar 1's very impressive as well. In my mind, you got to just watch both. I mean, yeah. But it is a time commitment for sure.
But I've definitely been, as I've been trying to write more in this, taking advantage of the environments.
Have you found a favorite yet?
Not yet. I haven't gone through all of them yet. I'm kind of partial to the moon personally. I keep
It's
going
a
back
good
to that.
one.
But I like Bora Bora as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to go through all of them yet first before I declare a winner. But it's such an amazing experience going in and out of those environments. I can see why people rave about it so much.
Yeah. And your Vision Pro shipped with Vision OS 1.0.2. What was it?
Like 1.3 or something. I don't know what they got up to.
Okay.
It shipped with that, and the battery had about 10% charge on it, so it was probably sitting in the back for a while.
Yep. And then you immediately updated to 2.0.
Yeah, I listened to this podcast, so I knew that 2.0 was the way to go. Just go right to 2.
Yeah, 1 is the beta. 2 is where it's at.
Mm-hmm. So I just immediately upgraded.
Have you ended up reorganizing your home screen much at all?
Not yet. And I was listening to one of the more recent, because you've had Devon from Mac Stories on?
Yep.
Devon. Okay, a couple times. Listening to those, and I know you guys have mentioned how, like, once you move
then
compatible apps.
Yeah, then the alphabetical stuff just stops.
And I don't know if I want to do that yet. I kind of like things how they are, but I do need to actually, because I had forgotten, I'll forget that some apps are on there.
Exactly.
Compatible apps folder, a calendar. Like I don't have to pick up my iPad to do my calendar. I can just do it here. So yeah. I do need to do that.
Yeah, forgetting about apps is such a huge thing. Like once I could reorganize the apps, I'd call Sheet on the front page along with all my other movie streaming apps. Mm-hmm. And once that happened, I subscribed to Call Sheet because then I remembered it was there and had easier access, and that's when we started using that app regularly.
Yep.
The iPad. Are you AirPlay mirroring into the Vision Pro at all?
I have not done that yet. Because for me, it would just be for Final Cut at this point, and like I said, the Affinity apps.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel like either of those would be a great experience. But again, I haven't tried LumaFusion at all. But if it's on Vision Pro, I kind of want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I would definitely give LumaFusion a shot. But the AirPlay mirroring experience, I think it's quite good. Like latency for me is very good, at least on my Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is you get audio, which you don't get with the Mac Virtual Display. So the audio comes along for the ride with the iPad. So those will come out of your speaker pods alongside the Vision OS apps. So that's the one nice thing there.
I do wish there was a iPad Virtual Display. Like I don't, I guess I get why they don't do it, but it would be nice,
Yeah, they need to. They really do. It'd be so nice. Are you still oohing and eyeing about like windows in your actual environment? Like, I still get amazed. Like, oh, these windows are just sitting in my space, and like, it kind of looks like they're actually in my space, and it still impresses me even like 6 months, 7 months later.
So, what's interesting about that, and I don't know how often you play with your Quest 3, but of course, Meta's been iterating on their software experience. Obviously, it was gaming first, and now they're trying to build out a more robust productivity system. But I feel like what I like better on the Quest 3 so far is that the windows snap better to like your walls or surface or something, or they feel like they do. Whereas I feel like on the Vision Pro, the windows are a little more floaty.
They go anywhere. And I personally like the solution of how it does. If there's a wall, it does some magic trick to my mind where it's outside of my house, poking through this wall, and in my mind, that's normal. That's fine. Obviously, it wouldn't work in real life, but the way they do it and display it just tricks my mind into thinking that looks great.
The other thing, the Quest 3, I liked a little bit better there is on the newer version, if you're actually tapping your window, I think whatever sound they make is, I guess, heavier or denser. Like if I tap a button on the window, and it feels more like I'm hitting a solid object versus the Vision Pro. Which I'm not walking up to my windows and tapping them that often, but for the Vision Pro, with that, I feel like it's like what Minority Report, like that. This is the first real, like the Quest is a little too rigid
Yeah.
to really get that minority effect feel like that you can with Vision Pro. And like, it makes me want to just stand up and work. Like,
Sure.
so you just have all the stuff around you and you just like, I don't know. That's what it makes me want to do still.
Yeah. I can imagine a Vision OS app where you're like grabbing that slate from Minority Report. Like I love a Minority Report simulator in Vision OS. That'd be a fun app for someone to make.
Mm-hmm. That'd be so cool. But I mean, people have talked about this, but yeah, just it is kind of like having like multiple iPads, right? Like you're just having like all of the space you have just to put things wherever you want is so incredibly powerful. It's still expensive, but it kind of makes it worth the whole thing, you know?
One thing I noticed the other day, and it's been there since day one, is when you're at the home screen, that just little sound, the hum.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been there, but I've never really cognitively recognized, oh, when I'm home, it's like playing the soothing just tone.
It's like a persistent tone.
Yeah. Did you notice that yet?
I think I've heard like the tone. I probably noticed it when you come to the home screen, but like I didn't know it kept going. That's interesting.
Oh, I gotta pay attention if it keeps going for just initially. But I thought it just is always there, but maybe it's not.
I love the focus effect on the icons. You know, just that is so high quality, so well done. I feel like Apple really really put effort into just the whole sound design of this system. It's really delightful, just across the board.
Yeah. Have you done much trying to multitask between apps on Vision OS? How has that been for you?
I haven't, I guess, done a lot of direct, like
dragging and dropping between stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that in the demo where they drag an image from messages to something else. I haven't had to do that much yet. Although if I had, because I mean that's my workflow for on the iPad. So if I'm using Photomator, I could see myself doing that.
Yeah.
If I start using that, then I can work on a thumbnail and then drag it wherever, or a blog post image and then drag it into Safari and then just good to go, you know? So I'm looking forward to doing things like that, but I haven't. It's mostly just been, having my individual apps just all around me and just kind of going from there and doing a lot of writing and just my normal computer stuff, you know?
Yeah. And another thing I'd recommend checking out are those immersive videos from Apple. They just released some Submersion, I think, and I watched that last night. And that was, I think that's one of my favorites. Like 16 minutes, super well done, of this narrative where there's like some character development within that time where you actually care about some of the characters and you feel like you're on the submarine. And yeah, I thought it was well edited and shot and everything.
I'm a little behind on that, but yeah, I literally last night just did the Encounter Dinosaurs thing.
Okay, cool.
And that was mind-blowingly good. Like the quality of that was, it was impressive. So I know there are a lot of complaints they aren't doing enough immersive content like that, and I am sure it's incredibly time and financially expensive to do that stuff. But when they do it, they seem like they're doing it right. So
for sure, yeah. The Photos app got a lot of treatment this year. Have you played around with the spatial photos and generating those? Some of your memories.
Generated a few or spatialized some photos just to see how that looked. I had some spatial video that I'd taken before to try that out, and that was really impressive once I finally got the headset.
Because what's your phone currently?
iPhone 15 Pro.
Okay, cool.
So I've taken a little bit. I'll try to take more, but without kids, it's just the dogs.
The dogs, yeah. Dogs look great in 3D, I must say.
So that's really all I have to take interesting pictures of. But yeah, I love the stuff they've done in photos, and it shows just even though it's an M2 in here, it's still really powerful, and the neural engine is good enough to drive this stuff.
For sure. And panoramas, I would encourage you to take more of those because those are very cool experiences.
Yeah, no, definitely. Next vacation, hopefully get an opportunity to do that.
Any notable third-party apps you've downloaded from the App Store as you've perused what is available?
It's so interesting because it's like any other device, I could just pull it over here. No, let me tell you what this is hard. Mostly, I downloaded a number of games last night. That
Do you have Apple Arcade?
I do.
Okay, cool.
So I basically went to Apple Arcade and downloaded all of those. But mostly, so far, it's been trying to get my iPad apps at Division OS. So going back through my purchase history and seeing what'll load. Like 1Password was another kind of paper cut on the Quest 3 that I didn't have my 1Password.
Right. Yeah, there's no 1Password there.
So it was like, and again, it's what's a sixth of the price of the Vision Pro. I acknowledge that, but like it makes it less useful,
Yeah,
so
very much so.
I've been mostly focused on that. And then, I just kind of follow kind of like what you're doing and the apps you're trying. And if there's a good idea here from you, I'm probably just going to try it. But
sure. Yeah, definitely.
You are definitely, one of the, if not the heaviest person in the space, like as far as amount of time and effort spent in Vision OS. So
I would say as far as writing apps in Vision Pro, check out Everlog. It is a journal, but it's a markdown app that I think you could, you could use it as a non-journal in a cool way. You have different, journals, so-called journals, to organize different, series of blog posts. And I think that's, in my mind, the best writing tool out there for Vision Pro right now is Everlog.
Do you know if it connects to the Files app, or at least will open?
Oh, I don't. I don't know how it connects with that, if at all.
That's what I usually do with my Ulysses, is that it points to a couple of folders in iCloud Drive.
So then you can just open files to, gotcha.
Yeah. But, again, since they are just Markdown, in theory, any Markdown editor should work. So
yeah, and there's definitely share sheets being files. Yeah, any other high-level stuff from your first couple days? Have you used the video camera to capture stuff with the Vision Pro yet? Anything like that?
I haven't done that yet. Mostly because I don't. She's probably hearing me. I'm gonna be in trouble. But my wife was really apprehensive about me getting this, and I think the whole like camera thing is like I don't know how I feel about that. So I purposely not done that yet. I don't want to scare her off.
The phone that most people watch TV holding has 5 or 6 cameras on it.
Yeah, it's like when people complain about like, oh, I don't want like a speaker thing in my house listening to me. It's like, all the things you have that
your phone,
your phone, your tablet, probably your laptop, everything has it now. So.
Yeah. I was super impressed with the MacBooks, how they added that magnetic, and even iPads now. If you use a Magic Keyboard with iPad, it'll magnetically disconnect the microphone or camera. Yeah. I think it's either the microphone or camera where it's like physically moves it, which is wild to me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that I remember that when the iPad came out, that was a thing. I'm trying to think. Other things, right now, like for me, I know a lot of people are buying this or seem to be using the Vision Pro in 2 ways. It's either the Mac Virtual Display or for entertainment.
Sure. And
those are both great uses. And obviously I'm going to eat crow a little bit on the Mac Virtual Display because I really didn't think I'd use this. But, when people ask me why I bought it, the few people I've told, it's like, it's really simple. I want to use it as a computer. And it's a computer, like an iPad, it has a different set of inputs, but like it's a full computer. You just have to, again, like the iPad, you have to be willing. You can't be so wedded to the mouse, keyboard, ways of doing things. Like you got to be open to different workflows with new apps. But just because you can do something, just because you have to do something differently in a different way, unlike a Vision Pro, it's not a bad thing. It's a different platform.
Yeah.
And so I just plan on, I put it on and just, opening Safari and doing whatever and working on my budget, numbers is there so I can get to my budget spreadsheet. Definitely using a keyboard for that.
Yeah.
But I can get to my number, I can get to pages, I occasionally have to write some stuff I have to print out. So it's slotting in.
So you've printed from the Vision Pro?
I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I will be.
I know it does. I just haven't done it yet.
I will be. That's whenever I use Pages, it's generally for something I have to
Sure.
print.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head is. Like, it's a computer. Like, people say there's not enough to do with it, but it's like, I don't see how that's true. It has a web browser. That's enough. Really, you think about it. So much is accessible via the web, but
Yeah, that's the. I always get so frustrated. It's like there's not enough content for it. It's like every movie in the world. I know it'd be great to have more 3D movies, but as far as like content, 2D movies look the best. But I'm not watching it any place better than that right now. And then as far as like, there's. There would be nice if there were more native apps, but there's plenty of iPad apps and Vision apps, and yet the Mac is a backdoor into some stuff. I think iPad people are the most suited for trying this out in the early days, especially because we're used to being flexible and figuring stuff out. And we like fun, unique paradigms in computing, and
it's interesting because some people say it replaces an iPad, and I guess the way I've kind of approached how I hope this whole AR thing pans out is I feel like, so the Vision Pro to me would be like a desktop Mac. Like in my mind, like if we're looking 10 years in the future, for example, like I would expect like a Vision Pro to largely still look like what it is, but have like a faster processor, more RAM. Like this is your heavy duty workhorse, and probably isn't leaving home. I mean, it could, but maybe isn't.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask, where does this live when you're not using it? Because that's the one thing I love with the travel case, to keep it safe. Just like
it's on the. I have a shelf over here with the stand that comes in the box or whatever. Like it's just sitting on that.
Okay.
I need to. I definitely need to get a case.
I mean, just like dust and stuff too. But for me, it's I've got a young child and a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And the cat is super curious about how gravity works.
And hair just gets everywhere.
Yes, it does.
But I also feel like, so after the Vision Pro, obviously we're going to get glasses one day. Like anyone who thinks, who saw the Meta Orion glasses and thinks Apple doesn't have something like that in the labs, like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and I'm super excited for Apple's version. But at the same time, I will want the desktop computer of the Vision Pro for when I'm home. And I want to be blocked out from the world, or I want that cinematic experience, and different products, and they should both exist.
Exactly, and those glasses can
replace
pair
the phone.
To your phone, or pair to be powered. Because Meta's thing is like powered by a puck and a band that looks a lot like a phone and an
Apple Watch. Yeah,
funny how that
in like 20 years that'll be your phone and your Apple Watch, right? Yeah,
and that's fine, and like that would be like a best case scenario for me. I feel like there's too many smart people in just the consumer technology space for like the mouse, keyboard, desktop thing to be like, that's all personal computing ever is, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to, I want what's next to come and be successful. And that's what makes me excited about Vision Pro,
No, it's cool just changing your work steps too. Like you mentioned going to the living room and just like, working in a more relaxed way of being as productive or more so. Like,
it's I never like work on the couch like with just my laptop. Like it's so rare. Like I can't get comfortable enough. But like
you're like hunched over and all that.
Yeah, but like with the Vision Pro, I've got this big screen in front. Like it's actually it's really nice. So whether or not the first Vision Pro is successful or not doesn't matter to me. But I'm really just excited about the direction all this stuff is going.
For sure.
Again, you get into this thing for so much money. You have the lenses then, the Zeiss lenses, right?
I do, yeah.
So I've been just using my contacts.
Okay.
But how have you been? Have the lenses worked pretty well for you? Or
they're great. Most lenses, my experience with PlayStation VR, your eyes are too close to them, so I'm constantly having to wipe them clean. In Vision Pro, that's not the case. The distance they have for you from the lenses, where I'm never cleaning them, which is remarkable to me. Coming from prior headsets where that's a constant thing, and they look great. And I was able to work with the optometrist to give them numbers that I wanted, because I'm very particular with how my diopters. I don't want. I know how that can go. So.
Yeah, I was just kind of cheaping out.
But if you do wear contacts, it would be a pain in the butt, I would think, to remove them to wear the headset. But you can always take off. You can always take in and out the lenses too. So,
Yeah.
do you wear contacts full time or like?
I mean, I do most of the time, but I like on weekends I would try not to.
Yeah,
So,
and I was wondering, like, yeah, because contacts, they're probably rated for your distance vision versus optimally you'd probably want computer distance reading versus full correction.
yeah.
Yeah, I know for me at least, if I wear full correction for computers, which are fairly close or whatever, I would just it would drive me insane as far as like, you get used to it, of course, but
Yeah.
I think eye health wise, it's correcting for the distance you're actually looking at is optimal, long term.
Yeah.
So yeah, something to explore maybe. And you do interestingly, you get different readings. So you do a face scan or whatever, optical scan, and you get different optical scans if you are wearing the lenses or not. So that's also a way to trick a system into having two sets of eyes. If you were to share your Vision Pro, that's a way to share as far as having different eye scans.
Makes sense. Yeah. I probably will grab those at some point, but
yeah, they were
lower
cost than I expected them to be, quite honestly. Like, I think, $149, $100? I forget what they were, but not much.
Yeah. I thought they were like 100 or something, but just add those to the list, man.
Yeah,
they're $100.
Okay, yeah, not bad. I paid around that for my much lower quality ones for PSVR 2. Yeah, and then as far as battery life, are you constantly just plugged into a power source when you're using this thing?
Yeah, I just moved a USB cable into the living room so I could just have it charging while I'm working in there.
Yeah.
If I'm in the office here, in my office here, I don't, because the best place to kind of sit, I have a bed in here. So it's just kind of sitting on there, and I'll just keep an eye on the battery, that nice, flip gesture in Vision OS 2.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if I'm not in here, I'll generally try to keep it plugged in.
Nice, yeah. I've only occasionally forgotten that it gave me a 10% warning to get the boot down.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm glad you said something about that, because I would have been very confused if I got to that point. I'm like, wait, it's plugged it in. It's still not. What's going on? Like, what are you doing?
So what are your, I guess, initial complaints about the system that you wish were better?
Well, honestly, yeah, I like the eye tracking a lot, but I find the pinching to select things, I get a lot of false, like, oh, you're holding your fingers together, right? Let me grab this thing for you, or let me give you a context menu. So that's been pretty annoying. I guess you have to be more deliberate with how you pinch versus whatever I've been doing. I don't know, but that's.
Have you turned off Look to Dictate, or is that still on for you?
That is still on for me.
Okay.
I've been actually using that. That's been a little finicky too, of like, I'll select the microphone, like it'll start dictating, and I say the first word and it stops. And
you stop looking at it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I must stop looking at it. So I only would use that basically when no one else is here. Like, I don't like to
makes sense.
dictate when other people can hear me. So I've been using that a little bit, and that's been okay, but it's mostly, the pinching has just been constant, of like, I'll try to get something out of the Files app, and it's like, oh, you want to, here's your context menu. What are we trying to do? You want to share this? It's like, no, I just want to move this, to a different folder or something. That's been the downside. Like I said, the weight really hasn't been that much of a problem for me. But I guess it kind of just naturally shifts as you're wearing it. So I feel like it's complaining. The system is complaining to me a lot about, hey, move it up, move it down, move it to the left. Like your headset's slightly off. It's like, okay, seems fine to me, but.
Yeah, I do get those complaints quite a bit. About moving it up and whatnot.
Other than that, it's really, I don't think this is contentious, but the whole audio, you're playing music, only one audio source at a time thing.
Yeah. Oh man, I thought that before Vision OS came out, I thought this was not the case in this platform, and then it came out, it's like, oh, it's just like the iPad.
when the iPhone came out originally and it did this, like I remember thinking like, this makes so much sense. Why in the world would you ever want to have two audio sources playing at the same time?
And how would you manage that on a phone?
Exactly. Like that just makes sense. Android's silly for doing, letting you do that.
Yeah.
But at this point it's like a simple toggle in settings would be fine. Like defaults it to.
Mm-hmm. We have Control Center. You could have multiple play pause things of everything going on right now.
And I have to, I assume everything's on a whiteboard somewhere at Apple, but and I'm hoping next year I don't know what they need to do to like clear out some of these things from the backlog, but I'd like to see them, Vision OS and iPad OS could use some more love next year. Put it that way.
Do you use this in good light most time, or what's your experience been like in multiple light sources?
I've used it in pretty decent light most times. It's actually probably informing, we're about to move, and it's probably going to inform how well lit various rooms are going to be
Yes.
to accommodate this thing. So definitely might be investing in some more lamps. But I haven't really tried using it much in low light, although it sounds like it's maybe a little more forgiving than it used to be, Vision OS 1.
It is. Yep, for sure. Mm-hmm.
No, I try to keep it well lit, and then I just use the environments a fair amount just to block everything out.
And walking around with it on, is that a thing you've been doing yet, or are you mostly just sitting down while you're using it?
Walk around a little bit, mostly to the kitchen to try to make some food.
What's your I guess eating? How venturous have you gone with mushy foods?
Not very. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of where my hand is relative to my mouth in the headset, so I haven't had any accidents yet.
Yeah.
And I know that was a thing I saw on Reddit or something of like, you can't drink with this thing on or something, and it's like, no, I can have coffee with this on just fine.
Sure.
Like it's fine, but definitely very, very careful.
Yeah, mushy foods oatmeal, mashed potatoes, chili. That stuff is very dicey because, you got that spoon. It comes up towards your mouth, and maybe it's got too much stuff on the spoon.
That's true. It could happen. Yeah. But no, I've been lucky so far. Knock on wood, and keep being careful in that area.
Well, anything else? Anything else worth closing on here?
I think it'll be interesting to. Well, one, I have to figure out how to start making content about this thing. So that's because I haven't done much of the screen recording or video, screen recording stuff yet. So. Yeah.
Are you at all tempted to try to get a developer strap?
I mean, I am a developer, so I have a developer account.
You have an account, so you can at least order one. You don't have to sign up to just order the strap. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about it, but it's like everything we just talked about. Like that's $300, I think.
It is.
The lenses are $100. The case is $200. It's like.
And it's a whole process to like take it on and off if you don't want the strap on at all times.
Yeah. So I probably will end up getting one at some point, but
yeah, I hear capture is much better. So if you're doing content for it, it's important. I do not have one yet. If they ever open that strap up to hook up to like Thunderbolt hubs, man, will I get one as soon as I can, because I would love more interface I/O, with this thing.
But for me, I'm going to be so curious in 6 months, because I am such a heavy iPad user, like what that split's going to look like once kind of I'm out of the honeymoon period. And I'm really just using this,
There's something tactile about the Apple Pencil and doing the touch thing. And then there's something tremendous about spatial computing and surrounding yourself in windows. And I feel at home when I'm on the Vision Pro. I'm just here in this cozy environment of all these different apps around me. And yeah.
Vision Pro feels like it feels like a living room computer. Like you want to go in the living room, sit on your couch, and just spread out your windows and just kind of casually work. Or that's kind of how I feel about this right now. But yeah, I still love my iPad. It is my my primary personal device. So continue to be that for sure on the go. We'll keep that place.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how you integrate iPad with Vision OS with the AirPlay mirroring stuff, because that can go a long way, I think.
Yeah. So if I can make Final Cut usable in that, and I'm not sure because I think I've maybe talked to someone about before. I like to, Final Cut is intended to be used with your fingers and like
It really is. That app, I don't know if that app would work well there, quite honestly. 'Cause you get the trackpad and keyboard, but that's not what Final Cut excels at.
no, it's actually kind of poor at that. I feel
LumaFusion though, that's great with trackpad and keyboard. So give that a shot.
I have to give that a shot, but like I walk around when I'm editing too, just because I am just using my fingers, and that's a little harder, I think, with the Vision Pro. But
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to them kind of using these two devices together more harmoniously, and just very kind of curious. And the app situation will continue to improve. If I had all the time in the world, I'd be working on Vision OS apps. I am a little bit here and there, but
Yeah, you should build the first great text editor for Vision OS.
I should. Honestly, what I want to do, I know there are a few RSS readers, and I should check them out. But I kind of want to do an RSS reader.
Yeah,
But I'm trying to think of like a novel idea about like I don't just want to recreate a 2D RSS reader. Like I want to do something spatial about it. So
yeah,
if I were to pick a side project to do, that would be that. But again, like the YouTube thing, man, it takes forever. You know this, but it just
it does. Video, it's even longer than audio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is why I do so little of it.
Yeah.
And I'll be so curious. End of 2025, I think, is when they're rumored to have that M5 version. I don't upgrade every iPad year.
Yeah.
I'll be curious if the cell will be strong enough, or if it's like, it's just a spec update and all my apps are doing what they need to do, so I can hold out for the next one. Or it is such a big expense that you're incentivized to use this thing for many, many years before you want to update it and trade it in or whatever.
I'm hoping this ends up more like the Apple TV, where it gets graded, but like
you can still use a 5-year-old Apple TV and it's all good.
And it gets most things, like there are a few things it can't do, but like it just because it's more in their interest to keep everyone up to date. It's not as much about like on the iPhone or iPad. It's like kind of gently nudging you to upgrade on some things, but like they're trying to build a base, so it doesn't make any sense to.
They are locking Snoopy out from older Apple TVs,
right?
Which is very
weird. They make weird decisions.
Generally, it's you can use them for Apple Watch is the same. Like you can update every time, but you really will notice the update if you wait 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I upgraded my Apple TV this year from the first Apple TV 4K. I mean, I couldn't tell you the difference. Right. And I know there are features.
It's better.
I can do FaceTime, but like
it's got that thread support, right? If you get the one with Ethernet, I think only.
Yeah, but like it's it's fine. It's still a good box, but I couldn't. It wasn't really a super strong update.
Yeah. Anyways, be an interesting future, and we'll see what updates come. The curved Mac Virtual Display will be fun to see how that goes and how that improves our Mac usage on this thing too. And then Vision OS 3 next year. We'll see what goodies they have. Hopefully a lot.
More spatial apps. Let's go. Let's clear out this compatible apps folder.
Yeah, John Turnus is now running up Vision OS hardware, I think, and we still have Mike Rockwell's still like the OS level stuff. And I have a lot of faith in Mike Rockwell as far as his vision for Vision OS, where he wants to see it go. So, and I'm very curious now with John Turnus, who I think he's done a great job with Mac stuff, to see what he'll help shape with Vision OS and Apple Vision Pro.
It's funny. I think Eternus is the iPad guy because he introduced the 2018 iPad Pro, and then he introduced this other one too. And so like I feel like the reason iPad hardware is so good, like I feel like that's him.
Yeah, that's interesting because I always associate him with the Apple Silicon Macs and all that. Yeah, it's wild. Well, thank you, Riley, for your time. This was great learning about your kind of first couple days as a new Vision Pro owner, and I know most Vision Pro owners got it at day one, so it's cool to like Vision OS 2 is out, and this is a new experience for you. So this is awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Where can folks follow you online and read your blog and all that?
Slatepad.org is the site, and you can get to everything, including the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is also focused on post-PC devices, mostly iPad right now, but we'll be getting into Vision Pro, a little bit of Apple Watch, just all that stuff that interests me as I have time. And then I'm on social media, mostly on Threads and Mastodon at SlatePad.
Very cool. And yeah, the Apple Vision Pro, you have tons of virtual slates already.
Absolutely.
Well, that's my discussion with Riley all about the Apple Vision Pro. Make sure to check out Riley's work over at slatepad.org. My thanks to Riley for his time recording. My thanks to you for your time and attention tuning in. Once again, you can support this podcast over at visionpros.fm/Patreon. And if you've not yet reviewed this podcast in Apple Podcasts, please head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave a quick review. With that, I'll talk with everyone again real soon.